Good morning, recovery warriors. My name is Madeline Hogan. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and I'm the project assistant for Friends of Recovery New York. I am so excited to be here and to be a part of Stand Up for Recovery Day. Every year, we like to start the day off with entertainment from a fellow recovery warrior. So this year, our musical guest is a very well-known musician who's regularly voted Best Singer-Songwriter, Solo Musician, and Comedian by the Albany Times Union Readers Poll and the Alt. Please help me welcome Aaron Harks.
Good morning. Hi, guys. My name is Aaron Harks. I'm very honored to be a part of such a special day. I submitted a song that I wrote actually before I found my way to sobriety. And though it's a slow and seemingly somber song, it's actually got a very positive message if you listen to the lyrics. And I always think back to the lyrics and think of where I was when I wrote it. And I'm glad that there was a glimmer of promise back in those days that I was able to achieve. I am now 12 years sober, and this is my song. It's called Half. Thank you so much for having me today.
This is only half the story. The other half's been told. This is only half the glory. The other half's been sold. This is only the beginning. Say it's already getting old. Have to try for what's worth winning. It's spring now, it's still cold. I know, I know. Oh, I know. The third time's a charm, and the portion be a given. You should not see my role, unless you've seen my right. You think you can focus so well at the top. You should see my light. You should see my light. The sun's not gold. The sun's not gold. The sun's not going down yet. This is only half of the dream. The other half's awake. You're only half of what you've seen. The other half was my mistake. That was only half of my heart. The other don't seem to fade. I know, I know, I know. Oh, I know if the third time's the charm, then the door should be a given. You should not see my road, lest you see my right. You think you can focus, so when the dark, then you should see my light. You should see my light. The sun's not gold, the sun's not gold, the sun's not going down yet. The sun's not gold, the sun's not gold, the sun's not going down yet. Somebody hiding from the night, somebody waiting for the day, somebody sleeping now alone. The sun's not gold, the sun's not gold, and the sun's not going down yet. The sun's not going down yet. Sun's not gold, sun's not gold, sun's not going down yet.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
It would help if I would unmute. Thank you so much, Erin. Good morning, all. As if that wasn't inspirational enough, we had scheduled for Dr. Donna from the who is the executive director of In His Name Outreach out in Buffalo, New York. She is having some issues with joining. Oh, she is here. So it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Donna to deliver an inspirational message for us this morning.
Thank you so much, Angelia. It is such a pleasure to be here today. And I just thank you all for your joining in with this fight to stand for recovery and the things that are needed on this important day of advocacy. It is such a pleasure to stand with each and every one of you. Some of you fight each and every day, and others, you are just part of what happens in the course of addiction. And so right now, I would just like to take a moment to remember and honor those who have been lost to addiction and the families. So if we could just take just a moment or so of silence in that memory, please. Thank you so much. And to the God of our understanding, we ask a blessing on this day of unity and connection as we work together to be a greater voice for change. Nothing about us without us. Thank you so much, and may your day be blessed.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Donna. It's always a pleasure to have you just in our presence because you just send such a calming across everything. So now I feel like, you know what? Today is going to be all right. Thank you, Dr. Donna. So good morning and welcome to all. I am Dr. Angelia Smith-Wilson, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Executive Director of Friends of Recovery New York. So on behalf of our board president, Chaku Masai, and our entire board, and our entire For New York board, and our entire staff, and our entire organization, which consists of Youth Voices Matter, and now the New York State Alumni Association. Welcome to Stand Up for Recovery Day 2022, which will run the entire day today. So don't just think it's just the morning. We need you to stay the entire day. And for this afternoon, to listen to our sponsors, we have an amazing lineup of sponsors, which we will be thanking throughout the day, our volunteers, our sponsors. But we have an amazing lineup this afternoon, where we showcase all of our sponsors. They have videos, and I'm going to say there will be one lucky person who stays to the end. You have to be present. We will pick an audience member to receive a gift. So again, welcome to Stand Up for Recovery Day 2022. This is a day where we get to showcase the transformational constituency power of the entire recovery community, which consists of individuals with lived experience, family members, champions, allies, and our recovery gems. This is a day where we get to love on those individuals who are in recovery, support those individuals who are in recovery, and educate the greater New York community about recovery. We get to discuss what it means to be in recovery, the worth of recovery, how it has changed our lives, and we get to help craft legislation that support and wrap around recovery. For New York was founded by a group of advocates who dreamed of the recovery voice being at the forefront of the recovery movement, and one that would ensure that there would be nothing done without the voice of individuals in recovery. And this day helps us to move closer and closer to the realization of the For New York founders. And even with our For New York, one of our For New York founders continuously being in our midst. And you'll hear from him later today. So this day is a day by which we begin with entertainment, with inspiration, but then we get right to the point. The point of the day is to educate folks about the power of recovery, the worth of recovery, how we are all impacted by recovery, how recovery has transformed lives and continue to transform lives, and families get to be rebuilt and reunited. And also we get to celebrate those who may have, in our light, may have succumbed to addiction, but their legacy lives on through the work of their family members who continue to honor and continue to fight for other individuals in recovery. So today is a day that we get to challenge the stigma. Today is a day in spite of epidemics and pandemics. Just 2 years ago, we were all in person in Albany, New York, and now for the last 2 years, we've been virtual. But today is a day that we get to come together, even in a virtual world, to celebrate, educate, empower, and as Teresa Nor would say, humanize recovery. So today is a day for our entire community to be proud, to be seen, and to be heard. Because today is the day that we get to show the entire state of New York what we stand for. So I welcome you. I hope that you leave empowered. I hope that your meetings that you have planned for this afternoon with the legislators, you leave them with enormous amount of information, and they walk away becoming a friend to the recovery movement. So I would like to now bring up our Director of Policy, Allison Weingarten. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angelia. What a great way to start our day. Yes, as Angelia said, it's different. Things are different, but one thing remains the same. Our community is connected and we are resilient and we are making progress. So I am just so grateful to be with you all today. This is my 5th Stand Up for Recovery Day, which I know is the case for many of our ambassadors. And we are doing this year after year, and we are getting stronger and stronger. And I wanted to let you know that we are at 85 legislative touches and growing. So what that means is today, this part of the day is about raising our voices and ending that negative public perception of people with addiction and people in recovery. And the second part of the day is equally important, where we break up and we meet with legislators all over the state and we remind them that we are voters and we put them into office to make sure that our needs are heard. And you will be seeing some of our best allies later on in this program. And, I encourage you, whether you have been doing this for 10 years and you are comfortable making a meeting with your legislators, or if this is your first time and you're listening in on some of those more, those people that have done it more often, by next year, you are going to be, it is going to be so easy for you. So it is about, really just dipping your toes in the water. And before you know it, you are going to do this so easily because it can be intimidating meeting with legislators. But you just have to remember that they are people like us and they represent us, and you are going to be amazing. And I wanted to share with you our policy statement, because the amazing recovery warriors who are coming on after me are going to be looking at our policy statement piece by piece and really talking about what that policy statement means to them. But I want to give you a little background on how this policy statement came to be. And when I started at For New York, this policy statement has developed and developed. When I first came, I worked with some amazing policy experts and people that are so passionate about these issues. When Stephanie Campbell was executive director, and we worked with Richard Buckman, of course, and Lori Drescher out in Western New York. And we had this huge policy statement because it's so hard to narrow down, what are the top needs? And our policy statement used to be 2 pages long. And so over time, we have worked to sort of narrow it so that we have these specific asks. But as we know in our lives, it's really hard to narrow down those specifics of what we need. But in the last couple of years, we've been doing a point in time survey at our recovery conference. And so we're trying to really understand, at that point in time in October, what are those top needs? And now I believe for the past 3 years, we've been seeing these needs repeated and repeated. And so we are able to sort of target those needs and really look at what legislation really supports those needs. So while there's so many different issues that are important to us as a recovery community, we have narrowed it down to really 5 asks, which you can find on our Stand Up for Recovery Day page. And so those asks are, Racial justice is a top need for our recovery community. And we say that For New York recognizes the long-standing racial inequities affecting Black and Latinx communities and strongly supports the creation of the new Office of Health Equity to be established within the Department of Health to address health equity among underserved populations. We emphasize that health should include addiction services and supports, and the office should consider understanding and acting upon racial inequities to be paramount. So we really want to focus on that racial justice component, and we know how much it intersects with addiction recoveries and supports. And without addressing it, we cannot recover in the way we need to as an entire state. Housing is a top need that gets talked about every year. And something I want to alert you all to, which is wonderful, which Jason will be talking about, is that housing has actually, for the first time, recovery housing is now in the New York State budget. And that is a big win for our community. However, we want to make sure that the voices of recovery are at the table, and that what we know we need for those who operate recovery housing and for those who have lived in recovery housing really know what's needed. And Jason's going to talk about that more. So, and we know that in addition to that, there are bills including S1416 and A8165 sponsored by our friend Senator Harckham and Assemblyman Cusick, that also gets to really making sure that safe housing is available. Yes, Nydia, I will say it again, recovery housing, we need it. So, treatment on demand with access to recovery support services. We know that when people need support, they need it then, not 2 weeks from now. They need help now. And so that is why treatment on demand, and once you get out of treatment, having access to recovery supports is crucial to our community. And we learned this through our survey. And so we have several bills in our legislative agenda that makes that possible, including supporting folks that have co-occurring issues, including mental health and physical health, making sure that people get treatment and are not just sent into our criminal justice system without any supports. That's the Treatment Not Jails Act. Legislation expanding our CHAMP program, making sure that people are taken care of when they need to be and not taken advantage of. And legislation S8058, which explicitly adds mental health services, substance use disorder treatment services, and recovery support services to those included in the network of health maintenance organizations. Our fourth ask is recovery-oriented systems of care. We know that more money is coming into the New York State budget. And that is in large part because of advocates like you. Those opioid settlement dollars, we do not want them to be spent in vain. I know so many people who have lost family members, and thank you, Dr. Donna, for taking that moment of silence. Many of our best advocates are people who have tragically lost their children to addiction, many of them listening in now. And we want to make sure that those dollars are not in vain. And so we are advocating that those dollars are all new money. They are not just changing the money, they are adding to the money that is in our budget. And so we have to keep the pressure on to make sure that that is the case, and that those dollars are put into the things that we know we need, such as making sure that we have recovery support services everywhere they are needed, including recovery community centers, youth clubhouses, peers in the community, peers in our schools and our colleges, making sure that these services are available. And last but certainly not least is transportation. You know, transportation is so necessary to making sure that people are able to do what they need for their life. So we are keeping up the pressure on transportation. We are looking to see where dollars are going to support transportation. We know legislation was passed last year, but we're still seeing where those dollars are being spent. And so it's incredibly crucial to keep up the pressure on that. So with that introduction, we are going to bring out some of our most amazing recovery warriors to share their stories and to share why each component of this policy statement is so important. And I am going to start with one of my dearest friends and members of the recovery community, Jason Pisano. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Allison. Thank you so much. Good morning.
I want to read just a little bit about you before you start.
Sure.
So Jason is a certified recovery peer advocate and recovery coach from Staten Island, New York. Jason began his career in peer recovery in 2017 and continues to advocate for needed services and resources for those battling addiction and the recovery community. And he is also just one of the most genuine people I know. And I'm so glad to have you here. And I'm so lucky that we went through this journey together.
Well, God, that means a lot, Allison. Thank you so much. It's been a great experience, and we've been doing this for a while together. So, and I look forward to many more years of continued collaboration and coming together for days like this and other events. So with that said, so again, good morning, everyone. It's really an honor to be here today with you all. So I am the peer workforce lead for the Staten Island Partnership for Community Wellness in Staten Island, New York. I'm also a person in recovery from substance use disorder and mental health issues. And I'm sure, a lot of us get asked this, what does recovery mean to you? And, for me, recovery means resilience, bouncing back in the face of adversity and trauma and tragedy and, and other difficult experiences, but getting through those difficult circumstances and improving our lives along the way. And I had to be incredibly resilient in the beginning of my recovery journey back in 2014. So I'll fast forward a year later. So in 2015, I needed recovery housing following a 15-month stay in a residential treatment program for my substance use disorder. Unfortunately, there was no availability for recovery housing. So I was discharged and transferred to a unregulated 3-quarter house where I lived for the next 9 months. And the house was overcrowded with about 32 people crammed into little tiny 6-bedroom bedrooms. Residents would use openly, steal from one another, threaten each other, and physical altercations were the norm. The landlord and the operator of the residence would consistently harass us, try to evict us unlawfully and violate housing laws and ethical standards. And he would break the stove and washing machine to avoid complaints from the other residents and not being able to use them. Garbage would be dumped on my bed, and if it wasn't taken out, the air conditioning would be taken out. The heat would only be on for a certain number of hours during the day. I felt like I was in prison, and I don't want to see anybody go through the same thing that I went through. Today in 2022, the need for recovery housing is crucial in New York State. Four of my constituents, have named recovery housing the number one need in the 2002 addiction policy statement. Housing as a fundamental need, and for those in early recovery, it offers belonging and community, which is so essential to recovery for substance use disorder and mental health issues. Recovery residents also considers evidence-based practices by SAMHSA, and this positions recovery housing as a legitimate, effective component of the continuum of care for recovery. recovery housing operators need to be trained in ethical practice and so they know how to safely operate as especially during the COVID-19 pandemic continues, as well as know how to manage resident needs like Medicaid assisted treatment. Certified residences exhibit competency, professionalism, and a standard of care that provides quality assurance and as well as protection from subpar operators, which I had to unfortunately deal with. Recovery residents also provide stability and peer support to traditionally underserved populations dealing with substance use and co-occurring disorders. These people would, otherwise have no access to safe, affordable, ethically managed, and high-quality recovery residences. We need to be expanding the availability of well-operated, like I said before, ethical and supportive recovery housing in New York State. Foreign white constituents support the authorization and certification of the recovery living residences and allows certified recovery residents to be listed on the OASIS website. Foreign white is pleased to see the creation of recovery housing certification process, including the 2022 to 2023 executive budget. And we ask that the voices of recovery housing operators and people with lived experience of residing in recovery housing be heard and included as the conversation develops statewide surrounding this important aspect of the continuum of care for substance use. So everybody, let's commit to working together and support people in recovery from substance use by improving access to quality and ethical standards of care, as well as support more homes and healthy recovery communities. And I thank you all for this opportunity for me to spread the message as important as it is. And I'm extremely grateful to be a part of this community. I always have. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Wow, thank you so much, Jason. That was just amazing, amazing. I'm always thrilled when we have our advocates discuss their stories because it's so moving. So thank you, folks, for hanging in there with us. Dr. Angelia Smith here again, and I have the distinct pleasure of introducing and bringing up our next speaker to discuss our policy priority number 2, treatment on demand with recovery wraparound services. So, Ms. Anne Marie Foster is the president and CEO of Phoenix House of New York and Long Island. She is responsible for 9 facilities that include residential treatment, outpatient services, the one and only recovery center in Brooklyn, New York, and several community residence and supportive housing. Ms. Foster brings over 30 years in the healthcare experience to the field, and she is certainly my friend, but she is a friend to the recovery community. And so it is my pleasure to introduce my friend, Miss Anne Marie Foster.
Hi,
good morning. Thank you.
Good morning, Dr. Angelia. Good to see you, and thank you for having me today.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to be able to speak. As Dr. Angelia said, my name is Anne Marie Foster. I'm the CEO of Phoenix Houses of New York and Long Island. Not only am I a leader, but I am a fierce ally and advocate for all those who struggle with addiction and mental health disorders. Many in my family and in my community have struggled with addiction and mental health disorders, and it has led to numerous hospitalizations, isolation from loved ones, incarceration, and even suicide. Addiction and mental health disorders does not ever just affect the individual, but the many family members and the community who oftentimes feel helpless in finding ways to support their loved ones during their addiction. I oftentimes think about the children and the young people who witness their parents or their family members struggle and are not able to attend parent-teacher conferences, birthday parties, sporting events, or these individuals abandon their families because their lives have somehow spiraled out of control, and the voices in their heads tell them that all is lost. The consistent access to personalized treatment and recovery support services is a tremendous burden on our system. In my 30 years of healthcare, and I know across the United States, I've seen it, and particularly here in New York, we have some of the best and brightest in public health. But what we lack is what I like to call the 3 I's: integration, innovation, and imagination. We need to do a better job at integrating addiction and mental health needs into primary care. We cannot continue to believe that this is a subspecialty that belongs over there in another part of the building done by those individuals. Mental health and dealing with addiction is public health. Today, dealing with a global pandemic for the past 23 months, none of us, and I say none of us, are exempt from the struggles of anxiety, depression, and the isolation brought on by COVID. And so we need to do a better job at screening and assessing so we can provide immediate access to services. Services such as medication-assisted treatment, adopting a harm reduction approach to how we deal with addiction. We need to include wraparound services such as housing, food, addressing food insecurity, employment, and recovery coaching. Our field needs to be innovative. We need to rip the lid off of how we do treatment. The war on drugs has been and continues to be a colossal failure. We need to seek evidence-based, linguistically and culturally appropriate treatment on demand. And what does that look like? An increased use of teleservices and all forms of use of apps and technology that can measure triggers, provide immediate resources and information to individuals who are struggling. We need to increase access to a holistic and wellness approach to treatment that includes the foods that we provide to those in addiction treatment, a more plant-based, sugar, caffeine-free diet that includes mindfulness, exercise, music, and creative arts. Which leads me to my last I, imagination. Can we imagine, for those of you who are in long-term recovery, close your eyes for a moment and think about what you needed most when you were at your lowest point of your struggles with addiction or mental health disorders. We need to do more of that. We need to imagine more recovery centers across this state where the power of peers drives the recovery process, increase access to treatment, because there's nothing like a peer who can say to someone, I've been where you are, and there is hope in your recovery. There is so much power in peers as part of the treatment team. And the more we integrate, innovate, and imagine what our treatment can look like, the better our chances are of saving lives. Thank you to For New York for the Stand Up for Recovery Day. And thank you for the opportunity to share with you all.
Hi, Anne Marie.
Hi.
Thank you so much. That was really beautiful. I'm really glad. And a couple things. One that I've said is when we're all together, which we love being all together, it's sometimes hard to hear the person speaking. And I'm just so glad I got to hear every single word you said.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you so much. I mean, it's so important. It comes from a place of passion. I represent an organization of about 250 individuals, and this is what we live every day. We are trying to rip the lid off of how we used to do treatment. Phoenix House has been around for 54 years. We'll be 55 years this May. And again, it's all about the innovation, all about how can we do things differently. And we live it and we walk it. We just opened a sensory modulation room in one of our residential locations. We have a dynamic Brooklyn Community Recovery Center in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. We just opened up something called a telebooth, which I'll be, tweeting about that a little later today, because that's actually where I am today. And it's an opportunity for individuals, as COVID brought about, that we don't have access to technology in our homes. So now everyone has to have a group on Zoom. Well, where do you do it? So now you can go, if you remember the old fashioned, those of you, I'm dating myself, phone booths on the street. Well, now we have a telebooth where you can have a laptop, you can come in, make an appointment, and be able to do a Zoom AA meeting or talk to your provider through Zoom if you don't have access to that in your home.
That is so fantastic. And I know that you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk, because we have such a great relationship with the leaders from your Brooklyn Recovery Center. And that speaks to your leadership with Sean and Dr. Brown and Savannah. So thank you so much. And thank you for being here. And thank you for always being such an ally to the recovery movement.
Thank you so much, Allison. Have a great day, and we'll be watching, and we're having our own stand-up virtual roundtable later this afternoon.
Yes. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Anne Marie. And now on to our next, another really dear friend of ours. I'm going to embarrass him a little too. He's also happens to be a great dancer. I am bringing up Stephen White, who is such a great member of the recovery community, always stepping in to whatever role we need. He's a constant planner of our recovery conference, and he's a true advocate for recovery support services. So can we bring up Stephen?
Hey, Allison.
Stephen.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. I'd like to say a few words about you before you start.
Okay.
So Stephen White is a trainer and clinical innovator at Best Self Behavioral Health. Stephen has been working in the co-occurring substance use disorders and mental health treatment field for over 19 years as a clinician in the inpatient, outpatient, and residential treatment milieus. He is a credentialed alcohol substance use counselor with particular interest in stages of change, motivational interviewing, trauma-informed care, intimate partner violence. Stephen is also a certified peer recovery advocate and has been instrumental in the development of peer services, providing supervision, training, and guidance to the over 40 peers employed at Best Self. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored and certainly appreciative to be here. And just to say, you had to get that dancing thing in there.
I'll never forget about that. And we will be together and dancing soon.
All right. It sounds good. Sounds good. Hello, everyone, and good morning again. I'm excited to have a little bit of time with all of you recovery supporters to talk about recovery-oriented systems of care. I was recently reading William Bill White's book, Recovery Rising. In the book, he talked about appealing to the consciousness of leaders. Today, as part of Stand Up for Recovery with recovery advocates, thought leaders, and decision makers, I think that this is a perfect occasion and place to talk about consciousness connected to recovery-oriented systems of care. As I paraphrase the work of one of recovery's great proponents, Bill White, he describes placing addicted people in systems of control and punishment as a tragedy. So here today, with great energy, hope, optimism for recovery, we want to advocate with passion for a broad spectrum of recovery-oriented systems of care. Recovery-oriented systems of care are about inclusion. And inclusion makes it imperative that all of the stakeholders and those seeking or in recovery have access to services including prevention, treatment, recovery support services, behavioral and mental health services, and some of the evolving services that target and encourage health promotion and harm reduction. As we come together today to celebrate and promote recovery-oriented systems of care, let's keep in mind that we are talking about supports that are person-centered, And importantly, recovery-oriented systems of care build on the strengths and the resiliencies of the individuals that we work with, their families, and the communities they come from to improve the health, the wellness, and the quality of life for those with substance use disorders or at risk of developing one. So services could include prevention, detoxification, inpatient treatment, residential services, health promotion services like On Point New York, New York City's On Point New York and On Point New York City, the state's first overdose prevention center, as well as recovery and community outreach centers and peer support services, just to identify a few. Let's remember that recovery-oriented systems of care create an infrastructure or a system of care that effectively addresses the full range of substance use problems that face all of our communities. One of the many wonderful things about recovery-oriented systems of care is that they can help communities in raising awareness about recovery and to dispel some of the myths that foster stigma and discrimination of our loved ones and family members challenged with substance use disorders and mental health concerns. Recovery-oriented systems of care is rooted in freedom, that there are many pathways to recovery. So in closing, I want to say to all of our recovery allies, supporters, and warriors here today, let's not call out our legislative sisters and brothers, but rather call them in to the circle. We want our representatives to be in the know that recovery-oriented systems of care stabilize communities, promote health and wellness, draw on person-centered principles, and also reunite and anchor families. And from a dollar standpoint, because when we talk about legislators, they're always thinking about dollars and cents. We want them to know that recovery-oriented systems of care improve access, quality, and the effectiveness of a full range of services that we can make available to our loved ones. And in the end, isn't that what we all want, which is to be healthy, happy, and whole? So I'm really excited to be here at Stand Up for Recovery. I think this is probably my fourth or fifth year here. And one of the things that I just think is important to add, because Allison did that wonderful introduction, is that, I'm a person in long-term sustained recovery. And for me, that means that for the past 20 years, I have managed to abstain from the use of any mind and mood altering substances. So it is in that spirit that I am joined with each and every person here today as we support recovery. So thank you again very much.
That was so beautiful, Stephen. And yeah, you bring so much to the table, and we're so glad to have you as part of our network. And I think your mom and sister are quite proud right now.
Yeah, they were my critics, so we'll see what they think of the video. Thank you so much, Allison. It's great to be here today.
Thank you. And thank you for talking about that holistic piece, because you're right. What do we all want? We just want everyone to feel well. And so it's about making people happy and healthy. So thank you, Stephen. That was very inspiring. Next, I'm bringing up a new friend of mine that was introduced to me by my dear friend, Bill Doyle, up in the North Country with Seaway Valley. And my new friend is Laurel Randall, and she's going to talk about the need for transportation. Laurel, can you come up? There she is. I love your shirt, Laurel.
I love this shirt, Allison. It's so me.
Stand Up for Recovery Day. Great job putting that together. So thank you for being here. You are going to be wonderful. And I'm going to read a little bit about you. Okay, Laurel?
Sure.
So, Laurel is a woman living in sustained recovery. She has overcome much adversity, including the emotional trauma of a fatal accident in 2013, where an innocent woman lost her life. Laurel now shares her story, hoping to empower others with substance use disorder to give them hope that there is future for them in recovery. Laurel is currently working as a peer advocate and support specialist at Seaway Valley Prevention Council in Ogdensburg, New York. Laurel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. As Allison said, my name is Laurel Randall. I have been in sustained recovery for over 8 years. What my recovery means to me is I no longer have to drink. I no longer have to drink to hide my feelings, to hide my emotions, to try to escape from life. I am currently, like Allison said, a recovery coach, peer specialist with Seaway Valley Prevention Council, and a peer embedded in a mobile treatment unit for St. Lawrence County. Like Allison said, in 2013, my substance use brought me to a place where I made poor choices in my life. And the end result was I ended up taking an innocent woman's life. After that, upon returning home from incarceration, I began to put my life back together. And to become a productive member of society, I needed to get a job, report to parole. And I definitely suffered from some trauma, and I needed outpatient. I needed help readjusting back into society. I needed help forgiving myself. Being that my license was taken away, I had to totally rely on public transportation. It has been difficult. I am grateful for transportation. It allows me to be that productive member of society. It helps sustain my recovery, and it gives me purpose because it allows me to get back and forth to work. It allows me to help others suffering from substance use disorder. An instant I can remember with public transportation when I first started using it is I found myself standing on the side of a busy highway. It was a torrential downpour, and I was just standing there feeling so helpless and so lost and scared, and I felt defeated. I felt like, oh my God, this is how my life is going to be from here on out. What's the use? What's the purpose? And as I'm standing there in the rain, I'm having this breakdown. I called public transportation to find out, what happened, and it was just a mix-up. However, for me, it was more than that. It was traumatic. There was no one I could call to come and get me. My home was 14 miles away, and I was in this inclement weather feeling like I was defeated, that there was just no purpose in any of this. Today, I use transportation daily, like I said, to get back and forth to work. It's much better now. Maybe that's because I'm in a better frame of mind. However, there is one day a week that I'm late for work, 25 minutes. Luckily, I work for an organization that'll allow me to make up that time at the end of my shift. However, I often think, what if I worked at a bank? What if I worked for a retail company where I had to be there to open up the store? What would happen to me then? Well, that despair, and I would feel defeated again, because what would happen to me? My purpose would be gone because I would lose my employment. So once again, I may have those feelings of being defeated. It's not a good thing when things like that happen. I'm sure it's not this way everywhere, being that we live in a rural community. To get to the doctor's appointment, to get to an AA meeting, to even go grocery shopping. For me, where I reside, the closest place may be 12 miles away. And without that reliable, safe, affordable transportation, I'm not able to access that. It's very, very important for this person in recovery to have that dependable, affordable, reliable transportation. That's what allows me to move forward. It allows me to be that productive member of society. And it keeps me sober because I'm giving back. I'm giving back some of the things that at one point in my life I feel I took. I only share this with you because I don't ever want to see someone else experience that feeling of being defeated and hopelessness like I did. And I just ask that you advocate with me for that safe, reliable, affordable transportation that we need so desperately in all areas. And I do want to thank you for this time to share my story with you. And I hope that it does bring you to get on board with this, because everybody deserves a right to be that productive member of society, to feel safe, to feel secure, and no one should ever feel that they're hopeless or defeated. I want to thank Stand Up for Recovery and Friends of Recovery for having me today. I appreciate your movement, and I'm a strong supporter. Thanks.
Thank you, Laurel.
Hey, Ben.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. This is fantastic. My name is Ben Riker, and I am the Friends of Recovery New York Youth Recovery Program Coordinator. And I am lucky enough today to have the honor of introducing one of my favorite human beings of all time, Chelsea Carley. And Chelsea supports youth and young adults as a peer advocate with Recovery Fitness in Rochester. In her role, she connects students on a daily basis at the Recovery High School. Chelsea began her recovery journey at the young age of 26, and after a few years of actively working to get back on her feet, she's now made a career out of supporting others. Grateful for her experience and current role, she's a true advocate who values collaboration and understands firsthand how integral connection and support for youth can be. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thanks, Ben. I know that I can't actually see any of you right now, but I want all of you out there to think about how many people you know who are between the ages of 12 and 31 years old. And how many of those youth are living through a pandemic? All of us, right? So a lot of you can probably relate to my experience with someone that I'm going to call Daniel. And as an extrovert, Dan loved having his friends over and goofing around outside, riding bikes through the neighborhood and having adventures. And believe it or not, school was actually fun for him. He loved learning, and it was a place where he could go to see his friends every single day. Cue the giant pandemic. Now Dan is isolated from his friends. He's stuck home. He's expected to show up to school online, which seems to be changing weekly pretty much. He's living with his parents who are struggling with their own challenges and who are numbing out with drugs. And that's the example he sees. So he starts picking it up here and there as well. Those drugs and numbing out are hiding his feelings of purposelessness. He's looking for any way to escape the challenges and emotions that he's facing right now. Eventually, he starts turning to the internet and starts entering into damaging relationships. And eventually, he finds himself self-harming. He starts to feel out of control. And eventually, he's suspended from school because the school has no idea what to do with him. There is a local recovery high school, but the funding is running out for that program. So he's back at home and he's in a toxic environment, and he now gets slapped with the label bad kid. There is a youth clubhouse where he could find community, but it's 30 miles away and he has no way to get there. We are here today to protect America's youth like Dan, and I know because I was one of them. My name is Chelsea Carley, and I numbed out. I had many years of untreated trauma and mental health, and I also felt those same feelings of purposelessness. I felt lost for a really long time. I had no coping skills. I had no safe spaces to talk about the struggles and emotions I was dealing with inside, except for the instant gratification and relief that I found from the escape of using substances. I got sober at the young age of 26, while the rest of my peers were still out partying, living at the bars, and working at jobs that they hated. Today, I'm an active participant in my own recovery. I work a recovery program. I do my best to be of service when and where I can. And I've also been given the opportunity to make a career out of this, to work in the recovery field, supporting people on their recovery journey every single day. And I even spend time with youth and students at a local recovery high school here every single day with them, just showing up and supporting them. So I want us to go back to Dan for a minute, and let's revisit his journey as if he were given all of the supports that he deserves. He still has to face the struggle of the pandemic, like the rest of us, but because he was taught some healthier social emotional coping skills while he was in elementary school, he is a little bit better equipped to deal with the life challenges in different and healthy ways. And not only that, the parents and teachers and adults in his life were also taught how to provide some skills and model the healthy behavior that they live in their own personal lives. He has a strong community of like-minded people and support, and there's even a mobile service that comes to his house. And when the pandemic lifts, he even has transportation to the nearest youth clubhouse where he can learn to enjoy life with other people his age without being exposed to harmful ways to numb out. Eventually, Dan heads off to college, where there is a whole community of young people in recovery, and there's even recovery-friendly housing. And Dan can continue on his fabulous journey. I want to encourage all of us today, including our state legislators, to advocate for funds to go directly to youth and young adult services. These services that so often get overlooked and lumped into adult services. The funding becomes scarce for our youth because it is often leftover dollars that went to adult services first, which leaves not enough funding for our youth programs to be sustainable long-term. Our three asks today, the main ask that I want to talk about is our recovery supports. We need more places to experience life and have fun without being exposed to substances. Places where our young people can be active and discover different pathways that work for them, things that they want to try. We need enough funding for a clubhouse in every county, not just places where it's a higher population, every single county. We also want to advocate for non-clinical support in high schools and colleges. Someone talked about that earlier, and I love that, right? Like, we need peer advocates. We need them everywhere, especially high schools and colleges. We need young people with lived experience who can show up every day and who can model healthier lifestyles and connect with our students in a way that the teachers can't quite connect to them. We are also asking for funding for housing, for new and existing recovery housing programs that is separate for young adults. Housing that is safe and stable and in communities that embrace pathways such as harm reduction. And our last ask is for transportation, for equitable and accessible transportation so that youth can actually get to these wonderful services, because there's no sense in us having all of these awesome spaces for people to get to if they have no way of getting there. We need funding for additional staff and vehicles so that our young students can leave right from school and go to these clubhouses after school, right? To avoid that downtime and that boredom time that can be a challenge for so many people. These youth are our future, and it is absolutely our responsibility to better support and prepare them for the journey ahead. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you so much to all of our recovery speakers today. It is now my great honor to bring to you our commissioner. She is certainly not a stranger to the addiction community. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the New York State OASIS Commissioner, Dr. Tanasio Cunningham. Commissioner Cunningham is the new commissioner of the Office of Addiction Services and Supports. She has also served as Executive Deputy Commissioner of Mental Hygiene in New York City at the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Was professor at medicine at the Montefiore Health System, and if I said that wrong, in the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. She led one of the first clinics in New York City to integrate buprenorphine into primary care, which subsequently expanded across 7 clinics citywide. She also went on to train hundreds of doctors in the treatment of substance use disorders in primary care. The commissioner is a huge proponent of harm reduction and racial justice, and we are so lucky to have her. And I'm often never not nervous introducing individuals, but I am just so amazed at the presence and the work that has already been started by our commissioner. And I can say on behalf of our entire board, our staff for New York is just so pleased, and we look forward to working with Commissioner Cunningham in the future. Commissioner Cunningham.
Thank you so much for that very warm introduction. I'm very happy to be here today, and thanks to Friends of Recovery New York for hosting this event. I also want to thank the legislators who are in attendance for your support of our mission, and then welcome to all the community organizations and the frontline workers. Obviously this has been an incredibly difficult time with the pandemic, and your work is so important and has, in impacting those with substance use disorders during this difficult time. I also want to recognize many of the people here who are in recovery, and that they're, living proof that people with substance use disorder histories can live healthy and productive lives. And then I also want to remember those who are not with us and who have lost their lives to addiction, and, really as a sign of more work that we need to do to really prevent, unnecessary deaths. So you heard a little bit about my background. I'm a physician in internal medicine and addiction medicine. And for over 2 decades, I've been working in the Bronx with people with substance use disorders. And in addition to providing direct care in a federally qualified health center, I've also developed programs to really improve addiction treatment, also researched to really figure out how to best deliver care to people with substance use disorders, and then also training physicians, the next generation, to really provide addiction treatment in their settings. And so some of the things that I've learned that I am bringing to OASAS really include the importance of harm reduction, the importance of evidence-based care and data-driven approaches, and the importance of equity. And so I just want to say a couple words about those guiding principles. So first is harm reduction. As we are in the worst overdose crisis we've ever experienced on record, our primary goal is to keep people alive. And once people are alive, then we have the opportunity to do all kinds of work. And so keeping people alive, really, part of that is really using harm reduction strategies to do so. So everybody's at different stages in their addiction. We want to include everybody in our services, and we want to help move people to a healthier place in their lives. And that might include treatment, but maybe everybody's not ready for treatment, and there's still so many harm reduction services that are evidence-based that we can provide to help people get healthier and stay healthy. Also using a data-driven approach is really important, for me and for our agency. We want to make sure that we're providing interventions that work, that we're targeting populations that are at the highest risk so that we have the most impact. And then finally, looking at using an equity lens in all of the work that we do is critical. We all know that drug policies in the United States have been racist. We have to acknowledge that, and we need to do everything that we can in our treatment system to really reduce inequities in care. Many of you in the audience today are peers working in the field. I personally worked for over a decade very closely with peers doing outreach in the corners, in the Bronx and in Harlem, and in single room occupancy hotels. I personally have learned a tremendous amount of how to care for people with substance use disorders from people with lived experience. I did not learn that in medical school. And so I really value what peers bring to the field. The personal perspective, the unique viewpoint is absolutely critical in terms of supporting patients and individuals with substance use disorders and their family members. And so here at OASS, it's certainly critical for us to integrate our peer support into our addiction treatment programs so that we can advance and support the needs of people and families that are affected by addiction. And so just some examples of how OASIS continues to support peer services include a peer integration toolkit, which really provides insights on integrating peer services into recovery approaches, adding more certified recovery peer advocates, and continuing to provide scholarships and fund training for peer advocates across New York State. In addition, working to hire peers through our Hope Line, and so that peers are available to respond to callers who want to talk with a peer. And so these are just some examples at OASS of our commitment to including peers in the services and really the value that we place on people with lived experiences. So again, I'm Dr. Cunningham, the Commissioner of OASS, and I'm really excited to be here working at OASS and working with all of you to really just improve the care that we provide, and again, to value peers and part of that process so that people with substance use disorders and those affected by it can live healthy and productive lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cunningham. I know that it means so much to our audience to hear you talk about, peers in this way and how you have interacted with them and learned from that firsthand experience. And also thank you so much for recognizing the lives lost. And it just means so much to our community. And that's what we're out here for. Just making sure that it doesn't, not one more, as we say. And so thank you. We're so happy and grateful to be working with you.
Thank you so much.
And now it is my pleasure to introduce one of our, best allies. We're so fortunate to have Senator Harckham in the New York State Senate. I think this is his third year with us, I want to say. But in that amount of time, Senator Harckham and his staff, especially Joelle and Sarah, have just worked so closely with us in our community. I know they're on the front lines. They're out there all the time. They're out there the day after session ends, learning the needs of the local communities and making sure we get the resources we need. So I am just so grateful to have Senator Harckham with us today. Can the senator come up? Hi, Senator Harckham.
Hi, Allison. How are you? Thank you so much for that great introduction. And thank you actually for acknowledging Joelle and Sarah. Our whole team does a fabulous job. Great to see you. Thank you for your work, and everyone in For New York for your advocacy. You are such an inspiration to me each and every day. Great to have Dr. Cunningham on board. She is going to be fabulous. I want to thank Laurel and Chelsea for sharing your experience, strength, and hope with us. And I just want to say that as somebody in recovery, I bring my lived experience to the legislative side. And so what I try to do is just facilitate the things that I had the advantage of having access to facilitate a successful recovery. And we want to make sure everyone has that opportunity. So that's insurance, access to treatment, access to aftercare, access to medication, access to therapy. And then, as we heard tonight, the social determinants, employment, housing, transportation, all of those things that create a successful opportunity for successful recovery on a daily basis, however we define that. So, as Dr. Cunningham mentioned, this was the worst year in history for overdose. So why do I have reason for optimism? Number one, we have a new governor who's been a fabulous partner, who gets it, who has her own lived experience. We have a new commissioner. You just met Dr. Cunningham. She's going to be fabulous. And we have new resources. This year, the budget for OASIS will be over $500 million higher than last year. That's right, $500 million with a B. We have settlement dollars that our great Attorney General Letitia James has won from the pharmaceutical companies. We have the Opioid Stewardship Fund money coming in. We have federal block grant money coming in. So for the first time, we really have resources where we didn't. We can address our workforce crisis, which has been holding us back for years. And kudos to all those folks who've been toughing it out during the pandemic. They've been frontline workers. They've been largely unacknowledged. We appreciate everything that they do and that they have done during the pandemic. This is a year we're going to get moving on recovery housing. We're going to pass standards for recovery housing. So when people come out of treatment, they have safe, reliable housing to get back on their feet. This is a year the transportation pilots we passed in last year's budget will be coming out into the field. We also have more money for transportation. So we have a lot of opportunities to make progress this year, and we have to. As Dr. Cunningham noted, all the folks we've lost. A week does not go by that I don't hear from a family who's lost somebody, and we have to learn from that. And one of the things I often hear is my loved one was in and out of treatment 6 or 7 times, and they never addressed their mental health issues. And that's why we can have all the money in the world, but we've got to get our system right. And that's why we need to continue to focus on co-occurring disorders, ending the bureaucracy, ending the silos, ending the funding streams, blending everything so we have no wrong door policy in New York State for behavioral health. And that's my pledge to you. And I want to thank all of you for your activism. You motivate me each and every day. You help keep me sober each and every day. And together we're going to continue to make great change. So thank you all for inviting me. And it's always great to be with you. Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure, Senator Harcum. We just, we love that you have been supporter for New York from the start. And so we are just so glad that you were able to join us yet again today. You always make sure that you show up and show your support for the recovery community. So we're so grateful for you.
Well, hopefully in person next time, very soon.
Yes, definitely in person next time.
Thank you.
You will. So it is my pleasure to now bring you a message from Therese Daly on behalf of the New York State Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins. Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins represents the 35th District. She is a huge supporter to the addiction recovery movement and her staff. Therese, we've come to know over the years, who frequently attends our community-based support meeting and has offered her support around advocacy training just recently, and continues to always support the recovery community. So it is my pleasure to introduce Therese Daly to bring us messages from the New York State Senate Majority Leader.
Oh,
Thank you, Therese.
Thank you so much, Dr. Smith-Wilson. It is a pleasure and an honor, and I am sending the very best wishes from the Senate Majority Leader, and she actually prepared a statement for me to read to you. So I am going to be very awful and read it from my phone. So the message from Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins is, as we grapple with the ongoing opioid epidemic and the elevated rates of substance abuse due to COVID-19, Stand Up Recovery Day invites us to reflect on those we've lost and to recommit to second chances. I want to especially thank Friends of Recovery New York for their work in addiction services and pledge the Senate Majority's support in this ongoing fight to ensure safe, accessible, and affordable recovery services for all New Yorkers who are in need. She would also like me to thank Senator Harcum, Joelle, Sarah, as well as Ben, Chelsea, Dr. Smith-Wilson, Allison, and Commissioner Dr. Cunningham. And on a personal note, thank you all for today and the beautiful participation that we've seen. It's just been wonderful to see, and I stand behind the Majority Leader and whatever resources we can offer you in our time, we are here to help.
Thank you so much, Therese. You are such a good friend to us, and we're really, really glad to have the Senator Majority Leader on our team. And just we appreciate you today and all the days of the year, especially with your busy schedules.
Oh, thank you.
And now we are going to be playing a couple videos from our friends in Washington. We are going to start with U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand.
Hi, I'm Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, and it's my privilege to be joining Friends of Recovery, all of you, and so many of our state's leaders for Stand Up for Recovery Day. I especially want to thank everyone who has been courageous enough to share their own story in the hopes of affecting change and helping others. Our stories are the best, most powerful tools we have as advocates. The stress, isolation, and uncertainty of the last 2 years have been difficult for everyone, especially those who suffer from addiction and substance use disorder. COVID has created a perfect storm of addiction triggers and disruptions to both regular routines and traditional supports like in-person NA meetings and local care services. Nearly 6 in 10 New Yorkers know someone who has abused opioids. And nationwide, we've seen the number of people losing their lives to overdoses reach an all-time high. As we work on the American Rescue Plan, addressing this parallel crisis was one of my top priorities. I was glad to see that the final bill included nearly $4 billion of emergency funding for programs including substance use prevention and treatment, community mental health services and behavioral clinics, training for health professionals, and more. It also included optional federal Medicaid funding for states to cover mobile crises intervention services for mental health or substance use disorders, helping to bring resources where they are needed most. But we must do more. I am a co-sponsor of the Comprehensive Addiction Resources Emergency Act, which would provide $125 billion of funding for communities on the front lines of the addiction crisis. That bill alone could bring more than $210 million to New York State and local governments each year, helping them expand and modernize their services and increase access to overdose reversal drugs. We know that when families are involved in their loved ones' treatment and recovery, outcomes improve. But they often face the stigma of addiction and lack of access to basic support services. There are great organizations that can provide families with help, but they often are not covered by insurance, and many are struggling to stay afloat. I'm proud to lead the Family Support Services for Addiction Act, which would provide $25 million of grants over 5 years to help nonprofits and community organizations make those support services available to more families. That funding will help these organizations continue to provide caregiver peer support, referrals to credible treatment programs, and access to information and counseling. I'll keep working until this bill is law. Together, we must continue to make sure that we do everything we can to not lose one more New Yorker to substance use disorder. I look forward to hearing the ideas that come out of this afternoon's session, and I wish you all the best for the rest of your conference.
Thank you for that video, and probably Gil Ruiz, who is listening in. Gil is a great ally to our office from Senator Gillibrand's team. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our Assembly Chair and my Assemblyman, as I live in his district, Assemblyman Phil Steck. He is Chair of the Assembly Committee on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse, and we are grateful to have you here today, Assemblyman Steck.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks for being here.
So everybody can hear and see me correctly because this software that you use requires Firefox or Google Chrome, which I didn't have, so I had to download them and so on and so on. But as everyone knows, there's a tremendous amount of money flowing into the addiction services and supports space. It's a 55.6% increase over the last budget. And this is largely resulting from federal aid and the opioid settlement. It's not really a commitment of additional state dollars. There are provisions in the budget for a lot of workforce retention benefits, and all of that is, of course, important. I think one of the areas that's very interesting is that there's a program called New York Matters, which we are expanding. And what New York Matters does, it started in Buffalo. It provides a connection at the point of service to anyone who's suffering from a drug crisis or a mental health crisis. So if the EMS shows up to get you wherever you are, at that very point of contact, New York Matters can provide you with enrollment in an appropriate support or treatment program. That model, at least to us, appears to be superior to the proposal for 24 crisis centers throughout the state. That's a $50 million investment, and access to those crisis centers is uncertain. How do you get there? Number one. But number two, the crisis centers only hold people and address their needs for a 24-hour period. So it would seem to me that it might be better to put that $50 million into treatment rather than into a short-term crisis center. We feel that the model of New York Matters is simply a better, more modern model, and people can get access to services through telehealth in the New York Matters platform. So I don't know that this investment in the emergency treatment centers is the most sensible thing to do. One of the other major initiatives this year, which we support, is certification of recovery housing. So this is fairly common on Long Island. There are so-called sober homes or recovery residences where people promise to be sober in those residences. And this program would allow a residence to attract people by becoming voluntarily certified by the state of New York. Currently, there's no regulation whatsoever of these locations, and they are not necessarily operated in the best interest of the residents as opposed to the best interests of landlords who hold themselves out as a so-called recovery residence or sober home, but without providing any services to the people who are there. The voluntary certification program would address that. So finally, I think one of the things, unfortunately, that's not really addressed in the budget at all, which we are trying to convince the Assembly that and OASIS that it needs to be addressed, is people with co-occurring mental health and substance abuse disorders, which may be about 50% of the population in OASIS certified programs. The problem with it is that some agency has to be given the lead to design and support mental health treatment for people who are also experiencing substance abuse disorder. So We have a bill to try and do that. We are still working on that, and it would need funding, which is not presently in the budget. Again, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to fund 24-hour emergency centers when there are other ways to provide emergency services, and we need to put money into the treatment of co-occurring disorders. So those are some of the things that our committee is active on.
Thank you so much, Assemblyman Steck. I think we're on the same page about a lot of this legislation. And I really do want to learn more about the, I'm sorry, the name is escaping me, but the Support New York, or what was it called?
New York Matters.
New York Matters.
This is a physician-based program that started in emergency rooms in the western part of the state, in the Buffalo area. They tried to match people who came into the emergency room with appropriate treatment, but they have expanded beyond emergency rooms, and it's not just for people who are in the emergency room. It's for all people who are experiencing a crisis. And we just feel that that is a more efficient manner of providing services to people experiencing a crisis rather than a 24-hour emergency facility, which is extremely expensive to operate. I'd rather invest $80 million in treatment than in emergency services for a 24-hour period.
Thank you so much, Assemblyman. I think we really are on the same page about, just figuring out the ways to get to people and making sure they're connected with the long-term services.
I think the crisis centers is an idea. It's probably 20 years old. And the problem is technology has moved us past the need for that. And if you're in one of the 12 centers, if you're in a, quasi-rural area or county, getting to a center could be difficult. Whereas with New York Matters, you're going to be hooked up by video immediately with either an arrangement for treatment or with an actual provider providing telehealth services right on the spot. So I think it's a question of a more modern and efficient method for trying to get people the services they need.
Great. Thank you so much.
They have a website, New York Matters. You can look at it.
Gotcha. Good to know. And there's a lot of people tuning into this, so they can check it out. And we definitely look forward to continuing this conversation. Thank you so much, Assemblyman. Thanks for standing up for recovery today.
All right, you're welcome. I don't think I don't need to stay on longer. Is that correct?
You are all good. We'll
all right,
see you
thanks
soon.
Again.
All right. And now we are going to hear from another dear friend of ours, Congressman Paul Tonko submitted a video for today.
Hi, I'm Paul Tonko and representative of New York's 20th Congressional District. I do thank Friends of Recovery New York for including me as part of their 12th annual Stand Up for Recovery Day. The education provided through this event is so helpful for public officials like myself, as well as the general public as we work to find the best solutions for our recovery community. As we emerge from the deadliest year ever recorded in overdose deaths, it is more critical than ever that we provide treatment options and a path forward for those most in need. With that in mind, I would like to give an update on the work my colleagues and I are doing in Washington to combat the substance use crisis. First, I applaud President Biden's commitment to addressing the crisis in his announced budget for fiscal year 2022. This year's budget includes a new 10% set aside for the Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Block Grant to direct funds to states for recovery support services like those provided by Friends of Recovery. This critical new set-aside will provide a sustainable source of funding directly to community organizations like Friends of Recovery to build a strong local recovery infrastructure across our great nation. Let me also share with you my own bipartisan legislation, the Mainstreaming Addiction Treatment Act. This bill would eliminate the outdated requirement that practitioners apply for a separate waiver through the DEA to prescribe buprenorphine for the treatment of substance use disorder. After France took similar action to make buprenorphine available without a specialized waiver, opioid overdose deaths declined by some 79% in just 4 years. My legislation has strong backing from the scientific and medical communities. During this time of crisis, when access to safe at-home treatment solutions can mean life or death for millions of Americans, there is simply no rationale for the existence of this waiver. The simple change will save countless lives. My colleagues and I are also working to pass my Medicaid Reentry Act that would allow states to restart Medicaid benefits for incarcerated individuals 30 days prior to their release. This will ensure those transitioning will have immediate access to critical services, including addiction treatment. Through bipartisan bills like these, my colleagues and I are working hard in Washington to support our loved ones, to respond with dignity to them and our neighbors who are indeed struggling. That effort cannot succeed without you. Friends of Recovery is fundamental to that mission of providing hope to our communities. So thank you again for inviting me to speak today, and to thank you again for all that you do and will continue to do.
Thank you to Paul Tonko. He is such a great advocate for our community, doing amazing work in Washington. And as we all know, or we should know, recovery is fighting to have a piece of the pie going forward. And we're looking to have 10% of future funds coming in with the Substance Abuse Prevention Treatment Block Grant. So we are so grateful to our support on the federal side, and we appreciate working with our colleagues there. Next, I am going to be showing you a video of some of the amazing networks that have been developing with For New York, including the Recovery Community and Outreach Center Network, the Youth Recovery Network, and one of our dear, dear friends, the Alumni Association. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Allison Weingarten. I am the Director of Policy with Friends of Recovery New York, and we will now be hearing from 3 fabulous networks which help to elevate the voices of recovery throughout New York State. Sending it to Bill Doyle with the New York State Recovery Community and Outreach Center Network.
Thank you, Allison. Hi, my name is Bill Doyle, and I am the current chairperson for the New York State RCOC network. The network was established in 2020 to help unite and support statewide recovery community and outreach centers in providing addiction recovery, advocacy, education, peer support, as well as professional development. Our primary vision is to enhance, empower, and enable all New York State RCOCs to support and engage individuals and each other in recovery. All OASIS-funded recovery centers in the state of New York are welcome to join our network. And the reason that I love the network is because it does exactly that. It brings us all together in good times and bad times, and we're here to support each other. So with that, I will pass it to my friend, Felicia.
Hi, Bill. Thank you. Hi, I'm Felicia Pullen from the Pillars RCOC network in Harlem, New York, where holistic approaches are sought to support people on their recovery journeys. And what I love about the RCOC network is that it allows me the opportunity to advocate for recovery for people across the entire state of New York, and not just those in Harlem. And with that, I'm going to pass it to my friend, Roy Kearse from Samaritan Daytop.
Thank you, Felicia. My name is Roy Kearse. I'm the Vice President of Recovery Services and Community Partnerships for Samaritan Daytop Village. We're proud to be part of the RCOC network. This is a network that is doing work to enhance the lives of New Yorkers, the most vulnerable New Yorkers, if I may add, those in recovery, those who need support. Recovery is an important part of the continuum, and we need to be available to sustain people in recovery. And that's why I'm proud of the work that we're doing across the continuum. And with that, I'll pass this on to my friend, Juan Jordan.
Hi, my name is Juan Jordan from the Julie Lochiada Recovery Wellness Center in New York City. I like the RCOC network because we come together to share with other recovery centers what we're doing in our community and how we can support each other. And I encourage you to join our RCOC network. And with that, I pass it on to my friend, Sean Willis.
Thank you, Juan. Hi, I'm Sean Willis, Director of Recovery Services and Community Outreach at Phoenix House and our Brooklyn Community Recovery Center. If you're looking for a place of solidarity that can enhance your program, join us at the New York State RCOC Network. Thank you, and back to you, Allison.
Thanks, Sean. Now I'm going to send it to my friend, Ben Riker, to talk about the Youth Recovery Network.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ben Riker. I am the Youth Recovery Program Coordinator with Friends of Recovery New York, and I'm here representing the New York State Youth Recovery Network, which consists of Youth Voices Matter and our regional funded YVM partners, Oasis Youth Clubhouse Leadership and their members, and all of our incredible community-based partners providing youth and young adult services around the state. And I'm going to pass it along to Ashton to share some of our policy priorities for 2022.
Hey everyone, Ashton Daly. I'm the Youth and Young Adult Recovery Program Support Specialist with Youth Voices Matter New York. One of our priorities is recovery supports. That means education, community-based recovery supports, and expanding access to substance use disorder and mental health services and integrating both of them to make sure we have better access for our youth and young adults. With that, I will pass it over to Ashley.
Thanks, Ashton. I'm Ashley Dixon. I'm the Collegiate Recovery Program Coordinator at Tompkins Portland Community College. I'm an enthusiastic partner with Youth Voices Matter in the Youth Recovery Network, and we are also asking for funding for new and existing recovery housing programs, along with the educational programs. Unstable housing for young people and folks in recovery is unacceptable. I'm going to pass it over to our friend Dan.
Thanks, Ashley. My name is Dan Sheeran. I'm from Friends of Recovery Westchester. We stand for equitable accessibility for all communities across the state to ensure that youth and young adults can access their community's recovery support services. I'll send it back over to Allison.
Thank you, Dan. And now I have the exciting opportunity to pass it to Luis LeBoy with the New York State Alumni Association, which is a new formalized relationship with Friends of Recovery New York. Thanks, Luis.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luis LeBoy from the New York State Alumni Association. The Alumni Association is comprised of individuals in recovery from addiction and mental health disorders. We welcome all alumni groups and individuals, peers, recovery coaches, as well as CASAC trainees. The New York State Alumni Association is committed to empower everyone affected by the horrors of addiction to find and maintain a new way to live and to pass it forward to the vulnerable persons around us. Our community continues to suffer the trauma triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic and social injustice. As peers, we need to continue our relentlessness in providing the community with the medicine needed to recover. That's love for humanity, and to advocate for increased funding opportunities for harm reduction as well as overdose prevention centers. And with that, I pass it over to Albert.
Thank you, Louis. Hi, my name is Albert Aponte. I'm the president of the New York State Alumni Association Steering Committee, where we meet monthly to provide support to those in all stages of recovery. and we share update and information concerning employment and training opportunities, housing, and recovery-oriented activities. We welcome everybody to join us. We stand up for all our peers. Thank you. Allison?
Thank you to all of our partners. We encourage everyone out there to please join us and lift the voices of recovery.
And here I am today. So those are our 3 networks we are currently working with. And like I said, when I recorded that film, you are all welcome to join us out there. So we are getting toward the end of our program, and I have the distinct honor right now of introducing one of our founders, along with Laura Elliott Engel, inviting up Richard Buckman, who has been doing this work for many, many years. And we would not be where we are today without him, as well as the amazing advocates he surrounds himself with in Long Island. If you ever want to learn about organizing, you can go to Rich. He has done so much for recovery because it's something he truly, deeply cares about. So thank you for supporting us, supporting our advocacy all these years, Rich. And thank you so much to the Long Island Recovery Association, Lyra, as well as our angel sponsors this year, who together, I believe, gave $5,000 for this advocacy event. So thank you so much. Welcome, welcome, as Ashley Livingston calls you, the OG.
Thank you, Allison. It's great to be here again. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us once again for our annual Stand Up for Recovery Day. I heard Congressman Tonko say 12th year. I think it's our 13th year, if I'm not sure. But yeah, and then prior to that, here on Long Island, we used to go to Albany every year in February, starting back in 2000. So we had 9 years ahead of that. And as the first ever RCO in New York, we've been doing this now. We're in our 22nd year. So it's been a long journey. Clearly, we're making a lot of progress, especially now in the last 7 or 8 years, since we've added so many different voices from so many different places. I want to thank Allison and Angelia and the rest of the 4 New York staff for an amazing job once again, as well as our own Lyra team here at home. We were tasked with scheduling 9 separate Senate meetings. I guess I want to single out Sue and Denise and Suzanne, who worked day and night to schedule those meetings, juggling constituents, Zoom links, 2 different accounts. You know, as late as midnight last night, we were still getting requests from people to attend meetings. So a lot of work that happens behind the scenes. So as you know, our collective efforts have paid off very well, especially in the last few years. We've seen dozens of bills passed, tens of millions of dollars in funding to OASIS. You heard Assemblyman Steck talk about the increase to the OASIS budget, which is monumental. The OASIS budget has been inching towards $1 billion in the last couple of years, and now with the increase, it's at about $1.5 billion. And that's where a lot of our work lies, communicating with our friends at OASIS about where that money needs to be spent to have the biggest impact. And we continue to be most effective. You heard Senator Gillibrand talk about this when we share our personal stories. Unfortunately, some about tragedy and others about triumph. When we speak our collective language of the heart is when we are most effective. And we must remain ever vigilant and not let complacency become our enemy. I mean, despite the fact that we've been sort of hamstrung due to COVID, I think last year with the virtual options and social media options, there were, 3,000 plus viewers. I think that's correct, Allison, right? So there's been a silver lining in there as well. So, I wanted to talk a little bit briefly about what the commissioner said. What an encouraging, energizing message. I could feel her energy through the screen I think it's going to be amazing to work with her. And I'm really glad to hear her talking about all the things that are important to us. It was also personally gratifying to hear some of our legislators using the appropriate language like substance use disorder and recovery support services. We've worked very hard for many years trying to get folks to use the right language. So that's great. I want to share one little story about how far we've come. I was thinking yesterday about a legislative meeting we had back in 2003. It was our early years of going to Albany. We met with a state senator and started talking about being in recovery. And I don't want to say horrified, but he was really, really taken aback and surprised that we were doing what we were doing, and made a reference to how his friends always make sure that they remain anonymous, an obvious reference to 12-step program people. And how, he doesn't think this is a good idea. So that was 19 years ago. So I'm happy to report that that same senator is now a person in long-term recovery, sharing openly about being in recovery out in the community. So it just goes to show you that our voices count and our messages resonate in places that we may not think possible. So I want to encourage everybody to have a great day. Remember, you're going to be meeting with your legislators today. I forget, Allison, last year we have over 70 or 80 meetings statewide, and we're able to continue to have our voices heard and make an impact. So be sure to speak your language of the heart. I encourage everybody to have a great day out there, and I'm thrilled to be part of this once again. So thank you, Allison and team for New York.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you so much. Yes, and one of the beauties of being virtual, other than the fact that I'm in my slippers, is that you don't have to run from floor to floor. But I do believe we're going to be in person next year, and we'll get our exercise in running to the different buildings.
Yeah, I didn't know if I should share. I'm in my pajamas and slippers, but you can't tell. No.
And now bringing on another amazing advocate who works closely with Richard, Sue Ferraro.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Allison. I am in my slippers too. They are pink leopard. I had to look. I think it's important that I start with, and I share with you that I'm a person in sustained recovery. And basically what that means is I haven't had a drink or a drug in over 34 years. My recovery journey started when I was 22. I was really fortunate. I know that. I was super fortunate that I found my journey that young. Don't do the math because it's been a long time. I still think I'm 22 years old sometimes, but I'm not. I go to bed before I used to go out now. So there's that. There weren't many options when I started my journey. I did the detox rehab thing. Aftercare was once a week, one day a week for an hour, and 12-step fellowship. And that's what I did. My life wouldn't be the same for me without the 12-step fellowship that I attend. When I was using, I dropped out of college, much to my parents' dismay. But in my early recovery, I was able to go back and finish. I ended up graduating magna cum laude. Who knew? We can achieve our goals one day at a time. I ultimately ended up working in the field of behavioral health, which introduced me to many great folks that are doing things within the recovery community. One of the organizations I learned about was Long Island Recovery Association, which is LIRA. I met Rich, who just spoke. He's one of our founders, and still to this day, a fierce recovery advocate. LIRA was founded to give a visible, to give a voice and a visible presence to the Long Island recovery community. We continue to do that every day. This meant something to me. I could combine my recovery, I could combine my professional life, and how could I do that? Our focus one of the focuses of LIRA was to focus on educate decision makers and policy leaders and community at large to help reduce the negative perceptions. Rich talked a little bit about that. We've done a really good job. We've been able to include families and those seeking a pathway to recovery, like help, expand the resources that are available in the community. When I got clean, my mom went to a 12-step support group for families, and that was in 1987, and it was the only thing available for her. Today, we have so much more, but we still need to do more in all of it. That's one of the reasons why I became involved in Lyra, and I guess I became involved in like 2014, and I joined the board in 2016, and I've been involved ever since. I felt that this was one of the best ways for me to make a difference. I could take where I live and my community and my professional and my personal and kind of combine it, and it made a ton of sense for me. I can never forget my first day, my first time getting on the bus to go to Albany for Advocacy Day. We got there, the energy in the room, the excitement of the march, joining together to create and make change happen. Today's different. Again, Advocacy Day is virtual. Just so you know, I'm speaking at a computer screen. I can't see you. I can't hear you. I don't feel the energy. It's really, really strange. Normally, Lyra and many other agencies on Long Island, we all get together and we get on our bus and we go. They call it the Magic Bus at 5 a.m. and we head to Albany every year. And to be home in my slippers, this is strange, but we're doing an amazing job and we can still make a difference. They've gone over the asks. We're not in the same room, but we can still make a difference. Talk to your legislators, talk to your senators, tell them what we need. Remember, they work for you, not the other way around. So stand up for recovery. Let's show these folks what we can do in recovery. Thank you. Back to Allison, I think.
Yes, thank you so much, Sue. Great job.
Great job, Sue.
All right. We will be sending it now to a special video to thank different people. And I hope you see your name up there. We tried to double cross it. Thank you to our ambassadors who met every Friday for an hour and did so much work on the side to make today happen. Angelia.
And thank you to our over 25 sponsors this year, inclusive of the Angel Alliance. Thank you so much. We couldn't have done it without you. It also helps, will continue to help to support our new policy platform, which you've been seeing scrolling across the bottom of the screen all morning, and we will talk more about that later. But thank you so much to our sponsors. You will see your names, and I will mention a couple. And this afternoon, after your visits, we want you all to come back because we have live presentations with our sponsors, and we have some videos, and we will have a giveaway at the end of the day. So on to our thank you video. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sponsors. And now we want to take a moment to bring our entire staff to the stage. We've said thank you to our ambassadors. We've said thank you to our sponsors. Now it is time to say thank you to this incredibly small team that continues to move mountains. So I would like to take an opportunity to introduce them all to you and allow them to say hi. So we'll start with our amazing Mr. Jeff Watson, our communications manager, who literally, you already know, we sing him praises every year. He makes us look so good. And he's a one man behind the scenes. Next to Mr. Ashton Daly from Youth Voices Matter, who does all things awesome and wonderful in the name of youth. His supervisor, but our statewide Youth Voices Matter coordinator, Mr. Ben Riker. Our education and training extraordinaire director, Ms. Teresa Narr. And our newest addition to our team, our project assistant, Madeline Hogan. And last but not least, the one and only, Stand Up for Recovery Day bride, as we call her behind the scenes. She pulls this wedding together every year and makes sure of the legislators have their information, of the ambassadors have their information. We all have our information. Mrs. Allison Weingarten, our Director of Policy and Advocacy. So on behalf of our team, which is based in Albany, New York, we say thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for continuing to entrust in us, this time together to represent the recovery community and to help showcase the power and transformational power of recovery. So
thank you, Angelia. And I'd like to take just a couple. I know it's because we're going around and we've all had either too much coffee or not enough, but also Debbie Brosen.
How did I miss Debbie Brosen? And she's right in the middle of my screen. Oh my God. It's because she's the glue. You sometimes you overlook the glue because the glue just holds everything together. My number, well, she thinks she's my number 2, but she's my number 1. Debbie Brosen. Come on. We couldn't do any of this without our director of operations. So yeah, Allison is right. We've been doing a lot of things at once. So that is our entire, our staff. We are missing. Go ahead, Allison.
I want to say, even though she's behind the scenes and did not have any part in the advocacy piece, she does other things that are very instrumental to our team. Jennifer Donadio is a wonderful member of our team. And in case they are watching, we have some fantastic interns. One of them, I have to give a huge shout out to Sheila Gordon, who has done so much work around Stand Up for Recovery Day and has really dove into the advocacy piece. And we also have other interns who are working on lots of different projects, including Tanisha Spalding and Sarah Ahmed, as well as some wonderful Sienna students who are helping us with, I have to give a plug for our employment and recovery program, in which we have our first meeting coming up on February 24th. And in addition to that, that reminds me that we are also going to be doing a day of action around housing on March 8th with our friends at New York State. Oh goodness, I should have written it down. New York State Alliance of Recovery Residencies, NYSAR. So lots of good things coming up. And with that, we are going to turn it to the amazing, the always energetic, the fireball that is Ashley Livingston to kick off our virtual rally. Hi, my love, Ashley.
Hey, love. So welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. As Allison will tell you, I love to get together in the morning. However, the real work is going to happen right now in this rally. So the meat is coming. We've had potatoes, and now you're going to go meet with your legislators. You're going to tell them what you need, because that's where we really make change, right? Is when we change policies that support the recovery community. Don't forget that, we deserve a seat at the table. So be telling, your electeds that individuals in recovery need to be driving the bus when it comes to policies that affect us. So with that, I just want to say, I love you all. Go out and advocate your asses off, okay? Nothing about us without us. Yeah, go recovery. That's it, guys. That's what I have for you. Oh, it's right. Hey, Ron.
You're up.
I love
Hey.
it. Are you guys ready to add? Oh, I love your dog.
That's Mickey.
Nikki?
Yeah, you can hear us? That's Mickey.
You can be our mascot today, Nikki. Woo! Go recovery. Guys, John has done a dang up job of getting a lot of appointments with legislators in the central and southern tier. So go, John.
Thanks, Ashley. Thank you. So we're going to kind of go through and talk about what we stand up for today. And every year, and I'm going to keep standing up for this year after year, is for recovery-sensitive, person-centered language is what I stand up for every year. And as long as I continue to hear stigmatizing language out in our community, I'm going to continue to stand up for that every single year. We need to use language that is supportive, person-centered, and strengths-based, and doesn't perpetuate shame and blame, but promotes recovery and healing. So I stand up for language. And I got a bunch of other people here standing up for things too.
I'm Chelsea, and I stand up for support for our youth and young adults who are our future, so that we can better support them and provide them with the services that they need and deserve.
Woo! Yeah. Who else is standing up?
All right, I'm standing up. I'm Kara, and I stand up for Recovering Out Loud for people that are too ashamed to do so.
Yay! Who else is standing up?
I'm Sean. I stand up for mental health and recovery.
Woo! Yeah.
I'm Brian, and I stand up for the friends I've lost to this disease.
Woo! Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mary, and I stand up for the individuals that I support.
Woo! Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline, and I stand up for multiple pathways of recovery.
Woo! Yeah. Hi, I'm Cody. I'm standing up for people in crisis and going through a tough time. Woo! Yeah. Is that everyone?
What does Mickey stand for?
Mickey stands up for lots of stuff, but hey, we at Recovery Fitness stand up for Sober Living Through Fitness, y'all. Thank you, Friends of Recovery New York, for another great stand up for Recovery Day. We really appreciate the time and the support all year long, and we'll continue to advocate for recovery every single year for Stand Up for Recovery Day. Have a great day, y'all.
Hi, we're Friends of Recovery Duchess.
Hello.
I'm here with my friends, and we're standing up for all different things today. I'm standing up for family resources.
My name is Daniel Curtin, Vice President of Friends Recovery Duchess, and I'm standing up for the ones we've lost to substance use disorder.
Hi, I'm Jaquita Brown, and I stand up for stigma and unity.
Hi, Jim Gall, Director of Peer Services at MHA, Dutchess County. We stand up for one door, and we so people don't have to jump through hoops to get some recovery in the Hudson Valley.
Tell us what you stand up for.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much. We have more videos to come with from our awesome recovery community. But we wanted to take this time, and Allison may be joining me. We wanted to take this time to thank you for joining us for our morning session. We have lots more to go. The day is not over. Hopefully, you have logged in with Allison your legislative meetings. And for those of you who will be attending the legislative luncheon, we'll see you shortly. And we will see the entire community back at 3 o'clock to hear live presentations as well as videos from our sponsors. So, Allie?
Yes, so this portion of the program, we are going to continue with videos and folks going live. We got Park Queens coming up next. Can't wait to see you, Patricia. And this part's going to wrap up around 12:15. And then we will, and then the Facebook Live part is going to be done. But then we are having a Zoom later on in the day. And if you registered for Stand Up for Recovery Day, you should have a link to that. Otherwise, we have, as Angelia said, we have the luncheon that's by invitation only at 12:15. And then the recovery organizations are having their meetings from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Some of those have already started. And then at 3 o'clock, we are having the afternoon recognition of our sponsors and tabling. As we have mentioned, something extremely important and dear to my heart, we invested in an advocacy platform. I don't know it specifically off the top of my head, but it's in all the comment sections for NewYork.Quorum, something like that. So if you put in your contact information into that, this is going to take our organization to a new level. There it is, 4-ny.quorum.us. When you put your contact information in, you're going to get all the information about your elected officials, and we can start tracking all of our interactions, as well as anytime we want to get the message out there. It's going to be as simple as just a few clicks. This was a huge investment for our community, and we want to take full advantage of it. So please sign up today. And now we are going to continue with our virtual rally, which this is just giving me so much joy. It's so great seeing all your faces. And I can't wait to see you folks in Queens and the Bronx after that. All right. Great work behind the scenes, Jeff.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. My name is Patricia. We're from the Clark Queens Carolinas Recovery Center, and we're standing up for recovery today. We are so proud to be a part of Stand Up for Recovery every year, and we are just filled with joy with our amazing staff and participants. Thank you.
Okay, here we are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my haven section of the Bronx, New York. We're here with Park Bronx. My name is Audra Stubbs, I'm the assistant director, and I'm here with my awesome team. That fights for recovery in the Bronx and surrounding communities every day.
All day.
All day, every day.
All day.
Go ahead, guys. Hey, Robbie.
Hey guys, my name is Robbie. I'm in long-term recovery. I'm here at the Park Center in the Bronx. I'm excited to be here with you guys in this overall collective mission to help people recover and live meaningful, sustainable lives.
My name is Jessica Feliciano, Director of Recovery Services, and I stand up for harm reduction.
Hello, everyone. My name is Paula. I'm a recovery coach here at Park Bronx Recovery Center, and I stand up for mental health.
I am Tom McEwen. I'm a recovery coach here at Park Bronx, and I stand up for recovery. My name is Kevin, and I stand up for recovery in Harlem and throughout the metropolitan area. If you don't stand for something, you might fall for anything.
Hi, my name is Jesus Hernandez, Senior Recovery Coach at Park Bronx, and I stand for all veterans.
Yeah! Hi, I'm Annette Evans. My name is,
That's Annette
I
Evans.
stand up for recovery for everyone, families, children, and the community.
Yay!
It's all about everybody recovery.
I am the program coordinator of CASN, Citywide Addiction Support Network. Also here at Park Queens and Park Bronx, amazing recovery centers. We stand up and advocate for everyone in recovery, anyone in the community. And please, Lisa, take it away. Tell us who you are.
Hi, my name is Lisa Teal. I'm a server at Park Queens. I stand up for all women who need some substance abuse recovery systems.
I'm Angel. I'm a recovery coach here at Park Queens. I stand up for all those individuals in treatment participating in recovery.
I stand up for others in recovery.
Hi, I'm Trevor, and I stand up for all the veterans in recovery. Jesus, hoorah, Semper Fi. My name is Rudy. I stand up for everybody that's handicapped in recovery.
Yeah!
Hi, my name is Adrian. I'm a peer advocate here at Park Queens, and I stand up for overdose prevention.
Thank you, guys. Hi, my name is Evelyn Alvarez, and I stand up for recovery.
It's amazing to have participants here today to join in Recovery Day to show everybody here that we do recover and that not only do we recover, we also thrive in recovery as well. All right. Excellent.
What is it all about?
Marion takes up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Savannah. I'm here at the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center. Right now we are working on a big group art piece. Hi everyone, my name is Savannah. I'm here at the Brooklyn Community. As you'll see, we've got all these different colors of paint and we're matching it to the color of our skin. We're painting each tile to match our own skin color, and then we're putting it together on this big panel that at the end is going to say, "Nothing about us without us." Today I stand up for language and destigmatization of substance use. I also stand for harm reduction and increased access to harm reduction materials like Narcan, overdose reversal spray, and also fentanyl test strips. Thank you guys at For New York for posting such an awesome event. Thank you guys.
Sorry about that. Hi, everyone. My name is Madeline Hogan. I'm a person in long-term recovery. To me, recovery is synonymous with liberation. To be in recovery is to be liberated from the physical, mental, and spiritual bondage of substance use disorder. And for me, to stand up for recovery means to stand up against the racial, social, and economic injustices that allow substance abuse disorder to thrive, and to call them out when we see them, because none of us can be free until we all are free. Thank you.
Hey everybody, it's Sean from the Brooklyn Recovery Center here with a couple of friends, and we're celebrating Stand Up for Recovery Day. We wanted to show you a little board that we created. So we stand up for our hashtags. So some of the things here that we're really focusing on is talking about, like you see down here in the corner, using comedy in recovery. So recovery are everyday things. We're here for equal opportunities, safe and affordable housing. Some of us are here for friends, Robert Daniel. Joy in my recovery for sure, so that's important to me. And all the things that everybody needs in life is what we're here for, and we couldn't be prouder to stand up for recovery with For New York.
Hi, recovery community. Allison Weingarten here from Friends of Recovery New York, Director of Policy. And I'm so excited for Stand Up for Recovery Day, February 8th. This year for our Stand Up For campaign, I am standing up for hope because there is always hope. Thank you for coming together and advocating so that everyone has access to recovery.
Hi everyone, I'm Teresa Knorr. I am the Director of Recovery Education and Training for Friends of Recovery New York. I'm also a family member in recovery and I work my own recovery program. This year for Stand Up for Recovery Day, I am standing up for wellness. No surprises there. Wellness for peer professionals, wellness for clinicians, wellness for family members. It is vitally important that we take care of ourselves in this work that we do. We also have to demand that the agencies that we work for are dedicating time, resources, money, and space for us to take care of ourselves. It's organizational wellness too. So tell us, what do you stand up for?
Hello, it's Stand Up for Recovery Day. Deb Rhodes, Roads to Recovery, former board member of Friends of Recovery New York, here from the Capital Region, New York State. I stand up for all of the things that we've been advocating for so many years. Please support to the policymakers out there, support the state budget, support all of the items that Friends of Recovery New York is advocating for. We have seen unprecedented losses this year to overdose. We need support. We need ongoing equity in terms of funding and support for prevention, recovery, treatment, and harm reduction services. We know that there are multiple pathways to recovery. We need to honor all of them. I stand up for the colleagues and the friends and the family members that I know dearly in our community. I stand up for the family members, friends, and colleagues that we've lost this year. And in years past, I stand up for all of you. I stand up today to tell my own story, which is having been in the field for a very long time, learning to love and meet so many of you across the way, and my own family who has suffered and struggled, some family members with addiction and recovery over the years, and for those family members impacted by addiction and recovery services. Most importantly, I'm here today because I stand up for you. Big shout out to Friends of Recovery New York for hosting this every year, and thank you for all the hard work that you are all doing out there. So go out there and advocate. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jaden. And I'm Janessa. We are children of a parent with a substance use disorder. This year for Stand Up for Recovery, I stand up for family resources. And I stand up for breaking the cycle. What do you stand up for?
Hi, my name is Liz Stevens. I work at Credo Community Center and I stand up for recovery.
Hi, I'm Leslie Kirsch from Credo Community Center. I'm a senior treatment therapist, and I stand up for recovery because I believe that people are more than their addictions.
I'm Jeff from Credo and I stand for recovery.
Hi, my name is Patty and I work at Credo Community Center, and I stand up for giving everyone a second chance at treatment.
Hi, I'm Kennedy and I work at Credo Community Center and I stand for second chances.
My name is Tracy Leonard and I'm from Credo Community Center in Watertown, New York. I stand for new hope and restoration.
My name is Erica from Credo Community Center and I stand up for recovery.
I am Dr. Dan Pisanello from Credo Community Center, and I stand for access to medication for opioid use disorder.
Hello, my name is Amy. I work for Credo Community, and I stand for recovery.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I work at Credo Community Center, and I stand for treatment for incarcerated individuals.
My name is Jessie. I'm from Credo, and I stand for recovery.
Hi, my name is Haley. I work with Credo Community Center and I stand for recovery.
I stand for recovery.
Hi, my name's Melinda Gabriel, and I work for Credo Community Center. I have worked here for 7 years and met some amazing patients who are in all stages of recovery. We're here for you. You can do this. I stand up for you.
I stand for equal access to quality care to include MATs.
We're from Credo, and we stand for recovery.
Hi, my name is Albert. I'm the president of the New York State Alumni Association. And the Alumni Association stands up for peers and overdose prevention.
The Alumni Association. Hi, hello everybody. My name is Malik Hutchison. I'm also a steering committee Alumni Association member. And the Alumni Association also stands up for veterans in recovery.
Hi, my name is Anne Marie Cross, and I am the secretary of the Alumni Steering Committee Association. And the Alumni Association also stands up for single parents, families, and women in recovery.
Hi, everyone. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and we are so grateful to be part of Friends of Recovery. Thanks for joining us for the State Stand Up for Recovery Conference, where we advocate for addiction prevention, treatment, recovery, and harm reduction. To legislators like Senator Gustavo Rivera and Assemblywoman Amanda Septimo from the Boogie Down Bronx. If you wish to start an alumni association, please contact our chairperson, Albert Aponte. We can assist you in this process. The Alumni Association is committed to empower everyone affected by the horrors of addiction to find and maintain a new way to live and pass it forward to the vulnerable persons around us. This Alumni Association consists of individuals who have been affected by the horrors of addiction, and we want to pass it forward. So we welcome all the peers, SERPAs, KSACs, trainees, anyone in need of support during these hard times. Please join the Alumni Association. We're part of Friends of Recovery New York. Yeah. And we stand up for all of it.
Yes.
And don't forget our youth. We are not forgetting our youth.
That's right.
Yes. What's it all about?
Recovery.
Hi, my name is Martina Deeb, and I'm a grateful person in recovery. I'm a KSAC at New Choices Recovery Center, and I am standing up today for equitable access to treatment services, especially housing.
Hi, my name is Chantel, and I am a client at New Choices. I'm a member of the recovery community, and what that means to me is I take one day at a time and use my resources here at New Choices. Today, I'm standing up for hope, my family, and to pray for the still sick and suffering and letting you know you have a chance. Thank you and stay blessed.
Hi, my name is Gina, and I'm a person in recovery at New Choices, and I stand up for recovery. And we are in desperate need of housing and more mental health needs. Thank you.
My name is Amanda, and I am a client at New Choices, and I am standing up for recovery. And I am all for housing and mental health, and stay blessed, safe, and sober.
My name is David McDaniel. I am a SERPA at New Choices Recovery Center. I'm also a certified addiction recovery coach. And I stand up for recovery today as an ally and also as a person in long-term recovery. And I stand up for hope, for family, for all those that don't have a voice. Thank you.
My name is Billy Fay. I'm part of the New Choices program. I'm standing up for recovery and anybody that's trying in these difficult times with mental health, struggling with any type of addiction, housing. I suffer myself from mental health, and I'm standing up for everybody in recovery.
All right. Hello. My name is Yvonne, and I am currently a client at New Choices and a member of the recovery community. And today I stand for equality, second chances, mental health. Everyone's entitled to get their life back in order once everything, fell apart. Everyone deserves a second chance. Thank you, and take care of yourself. Good luck, and God bless.
I want to thank everybody that showed up from New Choices Recovery Center for Stand Up for Recovery today. Thank you, and God bless. God bless. I want to thank everybody that showed up from New Choices Recovery Center.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, I'm Christina Goebel, president of. No. Hi, I'm Christina Goebel, president of Friends of Recovery Dutchess, and I stand up for self-care and better family resources. Hi, I'm Christina Goebel.
Hi, I'm Daniel Curtin, vice president of Friends of Recovery Dutchess, and I stand up for access to recovery. It is possible. Anybody can do it.
Recovery is possible for everybody.
Hi, my name is Angelia, and I stand for family members who support individuals on their recovery journey.
Hey everybody, it's Ash. I'm here to talk about standing up for recovery. Standing up for recovery means saving lives, no matter what that may look like. Today we are in a crisis of, judgment and a lot of ugly behavior all around the world. And I think that compassion and grace and love all means standing up for recovery, believing in a person, transform people. And I believe that, and I walk that, and, becoming an inspiration and showing people that things are possible. Life can be great. Standing up for recovery means saving lives.
When I think of recovery, I think of hope. I think of speaking, acting, behaving with intention. Considering that an aspect of addiction is that it's a disease of like compulsion and reactionary behavior, I think of my cat meowing and behaving with intention, being thoughtful, being mindful, being present, and not being distracted by things such as my cat meowing. Of course, hope that I can continue to level up.
Hi, I'm Trevor, and I stand up for all the veterans in recovery.
Good morning, my name is Terrence, and I stand for children who have parents that's under the influence of drugs and alcohol.
Hi, my name is Tony Key, and what I stand for is
the harm reduction, I does that, and I also stand for LGBTQ community and their rights in LGBTQ and their freedoms to be who they are in the LGBTQ community.
Hi, my name is Paula and I stand up for mental health and recovery.
Hi, I'm Adrian and I stand up for recovery and the people that are homeless.
Hi, my name is Albert, and I stand up for the peers.
Park Queens, I stand up for those in treatment and recovery.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Davina Hall, and I stand up for equal rights for LGBTQ, equal rights, young women, and everyone in recovery.
Hi, my name is Eric Craig, and here at Samaritan Village, I stand up for recovery for mental depression recipients such as myself. Hi, my name is Julie, and I stand up as an ally for the recovery.
Hi everybody, my name is Jesus Hernandez. I'm the Senior Recovery Coach here at the Peer Alliance Recovery Center in the Bronx, and I stand up for the Latino community and for the men and women of the military who sacrificed their lives for our freedom.
Hi, good day. My name is Kevin, and I stand up for recovery in New York City and throughout the metropolitan area.
Hi, my name is Lisa Teal. I'm here and standing up for mature women who have difficulties with substance abuse disorders, and I'm here to instill some hope.
Hi everyone, my name is Michael, and I'm from Queens Park, and I'm standing up for all men and women in recovery.
Hi, my name is Patricia from Park Queens, and I'm standing up for all moms in recovery.
Hi, my name is Roy Kiss. I'm the Vice President of Samaritan Daytop Village, Recovery Services, and Community Partnerships. I'm also a person of color and a senior citizen, as you can see. But yet, I stand up for recovery, because recovery is what makes a difference.
Hola, mi nombre es Nidia Gil y soy una persona en recuperación. Y yo me levanto por la recuperación porque me ha ayudado a mí a tener mejor esperanza, a ser mejor madre, mejor hermana, mejor amiga y mejor persona para mi comunidad. So, yo me levanto por la recuperación.
I'm Eric, and I stand up for my family, my partner, my friends, my loved ones, my higher power, my city, my state, and for those struggling with addiction. Thanks.
Greetings, everyone, from the great Republic of Brooklyn, New York. My name is T. Thaddeus Brown. I have a PhD in health administration. I'm also a recovery peer professional, amongst many other pieces in the alphabet soup, but nothing's more important to me than staying, in my recovery process a day at a time. I just want to thank, for New York and everyone that's a part of the, bringing this here Stand Up for Recovery Day into fruition. It's my second year around, being a part of this in a formal capacity here with the Brooklyn Community Recovery Center of Phoenix House, and it is an honor and a privilege. I've been in this journey of recovery now for over a quarter of a century, following a quarter of a century of being in the mayhem and chaos of active addiction. So I'm truly grateful, to be on this end of the road just for today. It's been a very interesting and rewarding experience for me. Been working in the field of health and human services for a quarter of a century as well, and have been raised up and tooled up, in a harm reduction to recovery approach. So meaning that, we're meeting people wherever they are, and, open door treatment/recovery on demand, whatever it is that a person may need based on their strengths, needs, abilities, and preferences, just assisting and supporting them in achieving their goals and aspirations in life. Recovery is defined by the individual and is self-directed. So, we want to make sure that we are meeting people in a culturally responsive, person-centered, and trauma-informed manner so that we don't get in the way, and be an obstacle to them. And that's the way I was raised up. That's the way I've been practicing, as a clinician and as a recovery advocate and coach, for over a quarter of a century. And, and that's the way, my recovery on a personal note, also has worked best for me. So I'm truly grateful to be here. I salute everyone, that's part of Stand Up for Recovery, and everyone that is in their pathway to recovery. So from the great Republic of Brooklyn, New York, Dr. T. Thaddeus Brown, Brooklyn Community Recovery Center of Phoenix Houses of New York, Long Island. And hey, I stand up for recovery because it works and it saves lives one day at a time. Take care, everyone. Have a great one.
Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx. They have like so many organizations. It's kind of like
Everyone can see here. Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Andrew Fairley. You can't see me because of my mask, but we're out here with Kevin Parker, Sean from TISA, and a few from Project Hope. They're supporting us just by kind of being here for us to talk. Sean, you said you had some people to shout out. We got so many people down here in Staten Island standing up for recovery.
Yeah, TISA, we're a coalition of organizations across the borough. So we're here in support of recovery and for fair funding for recovery services. So just want to show our support.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people we got to thank here today. So we got to thank Kevin Parker for coming out. You're going to hear a bit more from him for a bit. Pastor Joe at Celebrate Hope, thank you for all you do for our community. YMCA Counseling Service, thank you for your support. Michael Ballioni, he's a huge resource for us in the recovery community. He does so much. In Staten Island, our overdose rates are pretty high. They're going up and higher because of COVID. The fentanyl's crazy. But really, what's helping us more than anything, I'm sorry you guys can't see me. What's helping us more than anything is people like these people right here and the people that support us coming together to stand up for recovery. So we are all aware that we need the appropriate funding from the state. But we can't keep doing what we're doing unless we get that. So, anyone who's out there, thank you for doing the work that you do for Advocate. And here's Kevin.
Hi, my name is Kevin Parker. I'm the CEO of True Warrior. I'm a recovery success coach, international best-selling book author of Winning Against All Odds, and I love to speak about addiction and recovery, something I'm super passionate about, because not only am I these things, I'm 10 years in recovery, okay? Addiction destroyed my life. I didn't know what I was going to do at this point. But the one thing I want to stress is everybody's an addict. You don't believe me? How many of you get an Amazon package every other day in the mail? Raise your hands. I know I do. How many of you are addicted to the cookies? Can't stay away from the sweets? See, we all are addicts of pleasure. Just because your favorite flavor of pleasure is different than mine or his does not make you any better. Makes you maybe more healthier, maybe a little less destructive, but it's the same exact thing that they're going for. They're going for pleasure. So we shouldn't be condemning or punishing these people. We should be out there helping them. And one big thing is state funding. It's super important because most people that are struggling with addiction don't have any money. They need the resource, they need the tools. And we're here to try to fend for them, to stand up for them. See, when I was in my heavy addiction, I dealt with trauma, bullying, and all these different things, and it was a coping mechanism for me. And when I realized I could do drugs and forget about what was happening, it was the easy route out. I lost absolutely everything. By 25 years old, I was homeless. I winded up overdosing, ending up in a coma. I died 3 times in that coma. It got so bad, a priest came in and read me my last rites. When I woke up, I had to see my mother's face. And when I did talk, she looked like she aged 10 years since the last time I seen her. I heard the doctor say that if I survived, I was going to lose all 4 of my limbs. And I got out okay. I winded up losing my left leg because of my addiction. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because it's a constant reminder, that promise that I made to make a difference in this world, to make a change in my own life, and really help people that are struggling. See, there's so many people out there that need our help. And state funding is the way to go about it. We need to open our hearts. We need to raise the budget and really help the helpless. These are the people that truly need our help. So I'm asking you to reach into your heart, to find a way to make this happen, because these resources that we're providing are so powerful. I do coaching, and I'll tell you, I can't do my job without this state help, the state resources, because it's a big component of what recovery is all about. So I'm really, really excited that I can be here with my good friend Andrew and a few people out here to really represent and stand up for the people that need a voice. We're doing God's work out here, and I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you,
Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks, guys. From Staten Island, this is Andrew. Once again, as a person in recovery, I came here from Florida and went into rehab. Let me see if I can switch this camera around. But I came here from Florida and went into rehab. And if it weren't for the state funding that allowed me to get the treatment that I needed, I wouldn't be here today. So, Kevin, you make some excellent points. We need this help. We need this funding. We need the support. Thank you for all the work NY does for advocating, and for all the state legislators, or for people who work with those state legislators. Just remember, every dollar that you're putting into that pile that helps us, it's saving lives, it's making a difference. Please don't forget that. All right. And I will, Jeff, good luck, guys. Have a great day. Thank you for inviting us. Stand up for recovery. And hold on, I'm putting the camera back to the other side so that you can see our beautiful signs. Okay, I just put the camera back on me. All right. I know, I am handsome. But there you go, guys. Thank you so much. Stand up for recovery, fund recovery. Kevin, thank you. Sean, thank you. And have a great day, everyone.